Today on Austin Stories, the HOA tries to strong-arm OP into a dirty deal after her dad passes away and they try to take advantage of her. Here's how she gets back at them. Next, OP encounters his first ever Karen and she is bat crap crazy. Here's what she did to him and why he attempted to help her. Also, all my videos are in podcast form. Search for the Austin Stories podcast on your local provider or I have a link to an awesome story on the podcast in the description below. Here we go. Dad passed away. His condo HOA sent me a nasty letter since I'm not 55 and older, posted by Carrie. My dad passed away unexpectedly last spring, and I was the executor of his estate. My mom passed 2 years earlier, and I didn't know Dad updated his deed after Mom died to a ladybird deed, transferring the condo to my sister and I equally when he died. This meant that we did not have to go to probate court, thank goodness. It's good to note that the deed immediately updated in the county record system upon his death, and our county allows public searches of these records. His condo was in an over 55 community common in Florida, and I lived about 15 minutes away from him. Despite the death being unexpected, I was able to clean out the condo, freshen it up, do some repairs, donate, list and sell items. I was able to distribute family pieces to other family members, even hire a realtor, and list it within 3 weeks of his passing. This was no small feat, as I work full-time for a tech startup, which is so many work hours. I'm a single parent, and my sister lives in the Midwest. The first thing I had to do was get the death certificate and deed to submit to the HOA and security office to have my name and phone number as the owner at the guarded gatehouse, so I'd be called when contractors, donation centers, and potential buyers went there. The HOA was aware of his death. They had a copy of the certificate. A month after his death, 1 week after the condo went on the market, I get a nasty letter from the HOA demanding proof that I'm 55 and older because blah blah blah, our community blah blah standards and rules. I ignore the letter because nothing I'd respond with would be productive, and I wanted to not make waves when it came time for a buyer to get approved by the HOA. 4 months later, we get a buyer, go into contract, and she submits her HOA application. And we wait. Week 1, week 2, week 3, no response from the HOA. I, my realtor, the buyer's agent, and the buyer all call and email asking for an update with no response. Every month I'm paying bills out of his account, including HOA fees, renewed property insurance, and had to stop over there every few days to make sure all was good. My grief was coming out sideways since I didn't really address it. I focused on the estate tasks. I finally had enough. Here are some snippets of the email I sent to the HOA when I again requested an update on the approval. This was the only thing holding up the closing. HOA has absolutely no problem sending a terribly cruel and insensitive letter to me asking for proof that my sister and I are over 55 to have the right to own property in this community. Sending that letter so soon after his death is unconscionable. However, your team can't be bothered to answer emails and return calls. HOA and property management company know that the property was transferred as part of a death because I went to the HOA office to update the owner record and security office, and to do so, I had to provide a copy of the death certificate in both instances. Your office knows the unit is on the market because my realtor provided her information to security. There was a lockbox on the door, and the security logs show numerous showings. You know it's on the market because I paid $50 for the budget, financials, and HOA documents from your office to give to my realtor. At the time I received the letter, the property was already on the market. Dad passed away on this date, and I had that condo on the market the first week of May. I have done everything in my power to get it in on the market and in contract with a 55-plus-year-old buyer to stay within your guidelines. Could you personally turn around an estate while grieving so fast? I did, and am trying to finalize this last piece of the estate so my family can start closing this open wound. Whomever is monitoring the deed transfer needs to do the morally right thing and double check that you're not sending nastygrams to relatives of the deceased so soon, and cross-check to see that if a relative is doing their level best to sell the property. A simple Realtor or Zillow search will show if it's on the market, or maybe just talk to the people within your office. This is a senior community, and I cannot be the first or only executor of an estate that was passed to someone under 55. This can't be new for this area. Or maybe I am rare, seeing as both of my parents are gone before I even turned 44. Please note that my parents didn't have a mortgage. This sale is all profit for the estate. I could have put the condo on the market at a lower price that would guarantee a quicker sell, but I didn't want to hurt property values and comps for the neighbors surrounding my dad, who were very good to both of my parents. This buyer is buying it for $90,000 more than my parents did in 2010. You will see that I have not paid the November HOA payment, since our closing date should have been in October if your team had turned this around in an appropriate time frame. You can get November's prorated portion of the HOA fee from me and the buyer during the closing. Want your money? Do your job and send the approval letter, and I will be able to complete my job by ensuring that someone who is 55 plus owns the property. Those jerks sent the letter via email within an hour of my email. No message in the body of the email, just the approval letter attached. The day of closing, I did give the daytime security guard a thank you card with a gift card for all of her help and the extra work created by having a ton of businesses and buyers come through the gate. She actually saw me an hour after he died when I ran over there to get items for the funeral home. I'll always remember her kindness each time that she'd see me. This is a terrible situation, and I am very sorry that OP has to go through this, because when someone passes away in your family, I know you've likely experienced it, as have I, it's something that you want to focus on just that. You don't want to have family arguing about this and that and the other, but in this case, it's not family, it's the HOA having zero compassion. Like, OP literally had to go out, put this long email in and say, hey, I'm going by the rules, you're not, I will bring the hammer and the heat if you do not listen to me. And they finally had no other choice when they sent that email back. They're probably like, oh crap, she got us, we're screwed. And then they had to do it. But it shouldn't have even come to that point for OP to do that during this grief. So you know what? OP took down that HOA with the right and proper things, keeping a clear head, focused in on the goal, and the HOA delivered their end that they had to do and lost this battle. Way to go, OP, and I am sorry that you had to even go through this in the first place. First experience with the 100% authentic Karen, posted by Dirk Pita. I'm a 28-year-old male and I'm a customer service representative for a very reputable insurance company in the US. I have experience in this job in different companies ever since I finished high school. Now, as a disclaimer, I do not and would never work in underwriting. I'm just in charge of regular CSR stuff. I don't have a say on insurance claims, and that's an entirely different department. Also, I'm an outsourced employee. Most customers don't mind. Some occasionally ask where I'm from, and then there's the very rare butthole that asks for someone that speaks English as soon as they hear my accent. I don't care, I'm used to it. Generally speaking, American customers are very nice and patient, more than the ones in my country. So I never really understood where do all the retail and customer service horror stories from the internet came from. Today, I did. So, Karen calls. As soon as I answer, I hear a lot of background noise, and the first thing that I do after introducing myself is to ask for the policy number. I hear a man in the background yell, and between a lot of noise, what I realize is, in fact, the policy number, and I ask him to repeat it since I could not hear very well. Karen decides to take the lead and let me know that she is driving through the interstate while calling me, and that she does not want me to waste her time. I'm like, okay, how can I help you? I kid you not when I tell you this woman started screeching to the point that I had no idea what she was saying. Yes, I am not a native English speaker, but it's never been a barrier for me. I could not, for the life of me, understand why this woman was so angry. Between the insane yelling, I can make up something about her policy being canceled and her being charged anyways. And seeing the direction that this call was going, I decided that my best move was to immediately contact a supervisor through chat to get some assistance. I informed Karen of this, and I asked her to give me just a few minutes while I check on my side of the screen with what is happening with her policy. Karen, however, decided that I was a genie and I was supposed to grant her wishes and solve the issue that she was having without even knowing what it was and without checking for possible solutions. She decided that I was not allowed to place her on a hold, but I've had my share of angry customers and I know better than to let them take control of the call. So I explicitly tell her that if she wants my help, she will need to cooperate with me and to let me figure out what is going on. She reluctantly agrees, but says she will be counting when I specify the hold will not be longer than 5 minutes. First supervisor interaction, and I'm just like, I have no idea what this woman wants. She's yelling at me, very angry. What's happening here? So we start piecing together emails and notes and everything left and realize that she requested for the policy to be canceled and provided proof to have a backdate cancellation, and it was all processed smoothly. She even got a response telling her that she would get the refund that she expected, and now I was even more confused. My assumption was that maybe she was just angry because she hasn't been refunded yet, which is just bank time shenanigans and, well, nothing we can do about it. So I'm like, okay ma'am, don't worry, you will be getting your refund, it's just bank timing. And that's when she informs me, at least in a coherent way, the real issue. She was magically charged again last night. So I double check and triple check with my supervisor. There are literally no traces of this supposed charge that she got last night. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't really believe that she was lying about it, we had no proof of it. So I asked her to send us a copy of the bank statement so we can issue a refund right away. And she just loses it. Once again, she starts screeching about how she's driving to go into surgery, how she's going to sue the company, me personally, all the colorful insults that you can imagine, including my accent and country of origin. How we stole her money and she wants hers back. I insist that I just need some record of it to issue the refund. I genuinely try to reason with her, explaining to her that I can't just issue a refund for someone who calls asking for it when we're not showing it in our system, and that I genuinely want to help her. Apparently, she was so freaking angry, she was driving like a maniac and got pulled over by the police and was given a ticket. She asked for my name so she could send me the ticket, as she was not going to pay for it because we were the ones causing her distress. I kindly explained to her that she shouldn't be calling while driving, and that is not our responsibility. However, I gave her my name. Good luck with that, I'm on the other side of the world. Anyway, she said that's what hands-free is for, and I had to hold back laughing because it only then hit me how stupid this woman clearly was. The part that really got under my skin was not the insults and the yelling, the racism or whatever. It was just how insanely unreasonable this woman was. Her concern was completely valid, and I told her multiple times that she was right to be upset and right to call us to get things fixed. But she needed to cooperate with me, and she was just hell-bent on releasing all of her anger and frustration on me. She literally would scream insults at me and then stop and say, "What else can I call you so you can understand how angry I am?" The worst part is that in my employee handbook, I am 100% allowed and justified to hang up on a customer like this. Karen thought she had some sort of hold over me, but that was not the case. I could have ended the 2-hour-long call at any time that I wanted with all the verbal abuse that she was throwing at me, but I still wanted to help her because I did believe that if she was being charged, it was unfair and I had to fix it. I started to get suspicious when she consistently refused to send me proof of the charges, no matter how much that I reassured her that this would all be fixed as soon as she did. It came to a point where she started telling me that if she died in surgery and made her husband a widow, it would be my personal fault. Don't ask me why, but that made me snap. For the first time in the call, I told her to not speak to me like that and to not say stuff like that. She was so thrown aback from my reaction that she calmed down for 5 minutes, give or take. I actually had hope then that maybe we could end this on a good note, but to no avail. Karen still wanted me to trust her word that she was being charged $59 on a canceled policy and wanted the money back. I finally told her that if she was not willing to send proof to dispute the charges with the bank. She said that she shouldn't have to call her bank, and I told her, "You've told me many times that this is illegal and fraud. Given what you've told me yourself, I strongly encourage you to dispute the charges with your bank." I asked if there was anything else that I could do for them, and I ended the call while they were still insulting me. I changed my status to take a breather and realized that most of my coworkers were looking at me, extremely concerned. Apparently, the yelling could be heard through my headset. My supervisors, more than one, joined in to help, congratulated me for keeping my cool and keeping control of the call. I still feel guilty because I couldn't help her. I'm not saying this for pity points, I really do. I was just so willing to help her because I love my job. But she just wanted someone to be mad at. Screw you, Karen. Oh my goodness, it's like she has this lying scheme going on to try to get extra money, and then when the OP is like, hey, I need the proof, she's doesn't have it. So what does she resort to doing? Not taking ownership, not saying sorry, insulting the OP, because that's where she goes, because she's a Karen, right? That's where their mind goes, the half a brain that they have, because they don't actually, statistically, scientifically, they don't have a full brain, studies have shown recently, and we just know that this is just a big old farce that she's throwing up. Karen, you're throwing up this farce and you're throwing up garbage words at OP out of your mouth, so please stop. Let me know what you think in the comments about this as well. Way to go hanging on there, OP. The HOA frauds my deceased parents and they're caught embezzling money. You gotta see the story, it's insane fallout. Click it on your screen, you don't want to miss it, and I will see you there.